Here in Paris today, Rwanda's President Paul Kagame, along with French President Emmanuel Macron, are inaugurating a new memorial site dedicated to victims of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsis. Within just over 100 days in 1994, more than 1 million Tutsis were systematically murdered by the Hutu extremist government. France at the time being accused of complicity because then of its ties with the Rwandan government. In 2021, President Macron acknowledged Paris's overwhelming responsibilities in the genocide. And joining me now from Cape Town is Phil Clark, a Professor of International Politics at SOAS University of London. Professor, thank you for your time. To what extent has France's role in the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi remain a source of controversy and diplomatic tension between the two countries?
Annette, this is a hugely unresolved issue, and it creates a lot of anger, particularly for Rwandan genocide survivors, that we have a monument to the Rwandan genocide that's being inaugurated in Paris today, but the French government has never fully come to terms with its involvement in the genocide. The French government had forces on the ground in Rwanda in 1994. They were training the Interahamwe, one of the largest Hutu militias responsible for some of the biggest massacres in the genocide. Those same French forces then gave safe passage for senior genocide perpetrators out of Rwanda into Zaire. For many Rwandan survivors, when they think of France in 1994, those are the kind of events that they think of, that level of complicity. And yet we haven't seen the French government admit to any of that. And so as this monument's being inaugurated today, I think there's a sense, especially in Rwanda, that some of the great truths of the genocide and France's involvement in it have never really been fully acknowledged.
And as you referred there, back in 2021, President Macron stopped short of an apology, but instead asked for forgiveness by survivors. Why did he do that?
I think there was a huge amount of political pragmatism behind Macron's visit in 2021. Over the last 5 or 6 years, we've seen a new political relationship between Rwanda and France. These are two countries that feel they really need each other at the moment. France has very difficult relations across Africa. It's looking for willing African partners, and it's found one of those in Rwanda. Rwanda now is mounting a peacekeeping mission in Mozambique, protecting Total and other French companies' interests there. The French state is very interested in having Rwanda continue its peacekeeping missions in Central African Republic and Benin, two countries where France has enormous interests. And in exchange, what Rwanda gets is a huge amount of French finance and French backing within the European Union. So there's a huge amount of political pragmatism behind this relationship. One of the things that's interesting at the moment around the inauguration of this genocide memorial is the Rwandan government has also been very quiet about France's involvement in the genocide. Rwanda isn't asking France to further acknowledge its role in the genocide. Rwanda is playing a very careful diplomatic game because they believe that they have a lot to gain from this new relationship with France. So there's a lot of politicking going around in the background as this monument is being unveiled.
And one of the interesting things after the genocide was that Rwanda sought to distance itself from France, with French institutions being closed and the language of instruction in schools being swapped from French to English. Sort of on the ground, how would you describe the relationship now? I mean, how do Rwandans now view France?
I go to Rwanda at least once or twice a year and have done for 25 years. There's been, I would say, consistent animosity, not towards French people, but towards the French government. That's felt most acutely by genocide survivors, but it's a very widespread view amongst Rwandans that France has never fully come to terms with its central role in the genocide. In 2006, we saw the French embassy shut down, the Rwandan government expelled the French ambassador and all French diplomats. As you said, French was removed as a national language of Rwanda. There was a sense in 2006 that the Rwandan government was going to hold France's feet to the fire. that it wouldn't be able to reopen diplomatic relations with Rwanda until there had been some honesty about France's role in the genocide. I think it's very confusing for many everyday Rwandans now, 20 years later, to see the Rwandan government cozying up to France, doing these kind of diplomatic deals, seeing France as such an important international partner. Many genocide survivors, I think, will be very pleased that there's a genocide memorial being opened in the center of Paris. They'll feel that this is an opportunity to educate the French public about the genocide. But that education has to include some acknowledgement of France's own role in 1994. And at the moment, we're not seeing that level of honesty either from the Rwandan government or from the French government about those crimes of the past.
Professor Clark, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time.